He has fought the restraining order.
So I can see my son that she has kidnapped.
You have no right with regard to this child. That's the law. Do not bother her again.
This is Judy Justice. Melissa Grayjack is suing her ex-husband, Adham Elabiani, for moving expenses, travel costs, legal fees, and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 3182, Grayjack versus LL Yanni.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Miss Grayjack, you were married to him?
Yes, Your Honor.
From when to when?
Short marriage from September 2014. Our divorce was finalized December of 2016.
And that marriage produced a child?
Yes, Your Honor.
That child was born in what year?
He was born in the fall of 2015.
This is an interesting case in an area that I'm somewhat familiar with. When your divorce was final, according to you, you got full custody of your son, correct? And there was issued at some point a permanent order of protection that kept your husband, Ibiani, away from you and the boy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who issued that order and when?
An emergency order of protection was issued in May of 2016, which was later, after a hearing, made a 5-year restraining order protecting both myself and my child.
You remember that order, sir?
Yes.
You remember that trial?
Yes.
Now, the 5-year order issued included the boy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have a copy of that order?
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
The 5-year?
Yes.
Okay. So it was originally issued and then amended to the final 5-year.
Before I look at this, I just want to lay out the facts of the case. It is your claim that the defendant's actions by continuing to file cases against you is harassment and abuse of the system, and that because of his stalking and harassment, you've had to move, lost work, and his behavior by this harassment and stalking and multiple filings of multiple cases when there is no basis for filing is nothing more than really aggravated harassment. The defendant has a counterclaim due to mental distress and kidnapping his son. That's what his counterclaim is. Is there any decision other than this order?
So I have some decisions that were made later on as far as like our minute orders from hearings. I also have criminal protective order that protects my son.
I object, Your Honor. There's no criminal protective order that expired in 2020.
That doesn't make any difference whether it expired, sir. It existed. I understand. A court issuing an order that precludes a father from seeing his child. And this case gets more complicated because his parental rights were terminated. With his consent, he signed off on terminating his parental rights, and the child has subsequently been adopted by your husband. That puts the case sort of in context. Do you have your judgment of divorce?
No, Your Honor.
The judgment of divorce was 2016.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who got custody of the child? Was it joint custody?
No, he never. From day one, I've had sole custody, physical.
Physical and legal?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, is that correct, Mr. Rebbiani?
Yeah.
Now, you remarried in what year?
I remarried in March of 2018.
Do you have any children from that marriage?
No, Your Honor.
You still married?
No, Your Honor. That's what comes into play for the upcoming harassment that's been recent. We separated in December of 2021. Our divorce was finalized in May of 22.
Okay, so the person who adopted your son is no longer your husband?
Correct, Your Honor. But he's still the legal father.
I understand that. Did you remarry?
I get married next week.
And I see you're expecting.
Yes, Your Honor.
When?
Next month.
Okay. In what month and year did the defendant agree to terminate his parental rights?
February of 2022.
No, that's not correct. January 2019.
January 2019.
Yes.
Where was it that you actually, was it in a lawyer's office? Was it in a courthouse?
San Diego Courthouse, North County.
So you appeared before a judge?
Yes.
And the judge asked you questions?
Correct.
And when the judge asked you questions, because I've been there, the judge had to tell you that once you've agreed to terminate your parental rights, you are free from the obligation to support the child?
Correct.
The judge told you that? That you have no rights to see the child?
That's incorrect, actually.
You mean the judge didn't explain to you that once you terminate your parental rights?
I have here the adoption agreement. It allows me visitation time.
May I see? Okay, this is very clear, sir. It doesn't say what you indicate. It says, any contact between the boy and his cousins shall be arranged through the mothers. Future contact between the boy and the respondent or extended family members, respondent, that's you, may be arranged provided there is no restraining order or criminal protective order in place, and as long as desires and initiates such contact.
Correct.
Not you.
I understand.
And doesn't give you any rights.
Correct. But it doesn't specify who can be the custodian on that, and I ask the court for a guardian ad litem to make the determination.
You ask that of the court. In what year?
October 2023.
And this agreement which is a settlement agreement, was 2021.
Let's call it what it is. It's blackmail because
I'm going to finish with this part of it.
yes,
This agreement's 2021,
correct.
and the last order of protection expired when?
I have a permanent order of protection
For you?
and my child.
Is that here?
Yes, Your Honor. It's the final one from August of 2022, I believe. And when that termination agreement was signed, the criminal protective order
It's
protecting
2020.
only my
Shh.
was
Just a
still-
second. Would you ask her to just give me the order that makes it permanent in favor of herself and the child? Unless, of course, you acknowledge that there is a permanent order of protection.
acknowledge it, ma'am.
Okay,
But
never
I'm not
mind.
acknowledging
Shh,
2022.
don't speak. I'm just saving myself a little time, sir.
Melissa Graycheck has accused her ex-husband, Adham Elabiani, of harassing her for custody of their son. Adham is countersuing, claiming Melissa forced him to give up his parental rights.
Okay, there is a permanent order of protection in favor of the plaintiff and the child, against, and you are the respondent.
Correct.
And it is a no contact order.
Correct.
Okay, so this settlement agreement that you entered into, sir, says that any future contact with you may be arranged provided there is no restraining or criminal protective order in place
Correct.
and initiates the contact.
Correct.
So there is a permanent restraining order in place. You have no right to seek anything with regard to this child. As long as that permanent restraining order is in place, there's nothing here that gives you any right to file cases.
Correct.
I'm just telling you.
Yes.
That's the law. That's what your settlement agreement says. You
Correct.
agree with that?
Of course.
And you would agree that you have filed multiple proceedings in order to see your son. How
One.
many?
No, Your
Only
Honor.
one.
He's filed 2 petitions in the state of Arizona and 1 petition in the state of California.
That's incorrect, ma'am.
I have a copy of
I'd
it.
like to see them. You sure? 2 in Arizona, 1 in California after your parental rights were terminated.
I filed to request that the restraining order be set
Just
aside.
a second. You said 1. She says 3. There's a difference. 1 and 3.
This is first Arizona, California, and second Arizona.
Two. That would be 3.
That's one hearing, ma'am.
Well, it would be 3. 2 in one state, 1 in another state. Where do you work, sir?
I'm self-employed.
Where's your office?
I have a home office
Where's your home?
in Georgia.
Now, I'm going to tell you, you have no right to have any contact with her or your son. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Very good. And you did have contact, ongoing contact with her when there is a permanent restraining order in favor of her and your son to keep you away.
Correct.
You have a defense?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to hear, because what your defense here is that you were forced to sign a document terminating your parental rights, and the courts should vacate it.
No, I did not ask for that.
Well, what did you ask for?
My ask of the court was not to vacate this order. I do not care about vacating this order. My ask of the court was to set aside the restraining order and hire a guardian ad litem to see if my son wants to see me or not.
And the judge said,
The judge said that the statute of limitation on that has passed, that I should have filed an appeal back in 2020. So
yeah, Judge, all I had to do is read your settlement. The settlement says that you cannot move to see your child unless, 1, there is no longer a restraining order in favor of the child.
Correct.
The only thing that you can do to mitigate this settlement agreement is to go back to the court and say, I'm moving to vacate the order, the permanent restraining order. It's going to be denied, so you could save
Yes, Your
yourself some
Honor.
money. And then I would ask the court to assign a guardian ad litem to see if my son wants to see me.
That's exactly what I did.
Just a second. They didn't vacate the order.
No.
Well, then you can't file.
I didn't.
Just
That's what happened. That's exactly what happened in March. And I did not file anything since then, ma'am. She's doing this because I filed one time in 4 years a request to set aside the restraining order so I can see my son that she has kidnapped.
okay. I'm not getting into that.
If I may add,
Yes.
so because he has fought the restraining order over and over and over again over the last, since it was issued in 2016, Mr. Libiani was actually declared vexatious litigant in the state of California in 2019, and then
Would you
he
look
was
that up,
declared
please?
again.
That was in 2009.
I have a copy of
Yeah,
that
I'd like
order.
to see it.
I also have a copy here. This is my permission to grant me to file for this, as granted by the judge.
While she's looking for that order, sir, I would just like to know, can you tell me, you haven't seen your son since
18.
2018, and have had no communication with him?
Not by my choice.
I think, of course, by your choice, sir. Of
course
course
not.
it's by your choice. You agreed to terminate your parental rights and have no rights whatsoever to see him.
No, ma'am, that's not what happened.
He is on the list in San Diego Superior
acknowledging
Court,
that.
the date being December 12th, 2019. He was added to that list.
Just a second. So in 2019,
Yes.
you were added to the list of people who could no longer file any actions relative to this case in the state of California?
Without permission of a judge.
And some judge who didn't read it right gave you permission. Ultimately, you were told you can't file here.
No, ultimately I was denied because I should have appealed the order.
Oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Go, let me see it.
So this is the order that was sentenced vexatious litigant.
Sir, you have any other children?
Yes.
How many?
2 more.
How old are they?
4 and 5.
Where do they live?
With me.
Are you married?
No, divorced.
You got custody?
No.
Correct.
No, Your Honor, my witnesses.
Just let him answer. Let him answer, please. You are the primary custodian of those children?
For the past 3 years. For the past 4 years.
Where is their mother? Oh, that would be you.
That would be me, yes, ma'am.
Okay, stand up. You have 2 children.
We do.
4 and 5 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they live with you?
We have no.
That's my question.
Yes, ma'am.
Follow me. They do not live with you.
No.
And they have not lived with you for the last 4 years.
Incorrect.
When was the last time they lived with you?
They do. We do have an order. It's a temporary order. They do come see me on a frequent basis.
I didn't ask you whether
Lived
they
with me 2021.
So for that, whatever. For the last several years, their father has been their sole custodian.
Not by my choice, no.
Who cares by who's done it? How do we by a judge's choice?
Yes.
And however, judges usually say, we're supposed to say, we see no different in the sexes, mother, father, nobody has greater rights to a child, mother or father. Most judges say, you know, if there's nothing wrong with the mother, then little kids should be, and the children were little then, we're going to let these little children be raised by their father. The father whose parental rights were terminated, and not only parental rights terminated, but a final order of protection exists in favor of a child who is older than your children.
I do have something to say. This is all temporary in the state of Georgia.
I want to tell you something, madam. 3 years isn't temporary. If I didn't see my dog for 2 days, I would say to myself, what happened? My life is over. I don't sit down. I got it.
Okay.
Sit.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Melissa Grayjack claims her ex-husband, Adham Elabiani, has used the court system to harass her for many years. Adham is countersuing for emotional distress, claiming Melissa refuses to let him see their son.
Okay.
Judge, can I say something, please?
Now, just looking at this. This court has substantial concerns about the respondent's inability to understand the consequences of his behavior, although the respondent has shown an ability at times to regulate his behavior.
There was judicial misconduct in my case, to the point where I shouted at this judge and his bailiff in the courtroom. And this is what he's referring to. And this is why he punished me and prevented me from having my son. Has nothing to do with serious actions of mine.
What prohibited you, Mr. Elbiani, from having your son was the fact that you agreed to terminate your parental rights.
That's incorrect, ma'am.
Just a second. And you said, just a second. And you said that your defense to her action was that you were blackmailed. That's what you said to me.
Correct.
And the reason you were blackmailed is because she said you're going to have to support him to the tune of $50,000. And that was enough for you to say, okay, where do I sign? Just show me where I...
That's incorrect, ma'am.
Let me see what it says.
$40,000 in 3.5 years.
Eventually, Melissa was able to adopt my son with her new husband because she blackmailed me. She said that if I didn't sign the paperwork, I would have to pay $50,000 in child support, which she knew I didn't have. She had attorneys, and I couldn't afford a lawyer at the time, so I signed the paperwork.
She filed to hold me in contempt of the court order. And at the time, I was a green card holder. So she used that, and if I violated that, I would have been deported.
Take this back.
And,
Okay.
Your Honor, he had an attorney for the adoption. I have a copy of his attorney, the court assigning him one.
Did the court assign you an attorney for the
Of
adoption?
course.
Okay. So you were represented by counsel.
Correct.
Good. Okay. It's a particularly sad case, but not very difficult to rule on. You may have made a mistake when you consented to terminate your parental rights. May have, which allowed for your son to be adopted. You can't continue to torture her. Don't speak. I'm ruling now. So you can't continue to torture her. And there has to be some financial consequence for you because 2 judges have already told you you have to stop annoying her.
Actually, no, ma'am.
Don't.
She asked for
Hey,
double jeopardy, ma'am.
What part of my mouth don't you understand? This is not a back and forth anymore. Now I'm ruling. And what I'm telling you is, sir, this is my ruling.
And that's an incorrect ruling.
This is my ruling. This is my ruling.
Already denied her sanction.
Listen to me. This is my playpen. They cut off your mic.
Correct.
So it's like my not hearing you. I'm ruling now, and I'm telling you that I am awarding her $5,000 to send a message to you. Do not bother her again. However, so that's my judgment. I'm dismissing your counterclaim as of no merit. But what I'm suggesting to you is, and this is just a suggestion, he clearly, in the mind of some judge, was sufficiently fit to be a full-time custodian for 2 small children because she may have had. I don't know what kind of problems she had, but to grant custody to a father who has a protective order for another child permanently during his minority, it must have been some beaut of evidence. Don't shake your head. So all I'm saying to you is, I'm not so sure that somewhere down the line, your son would like to be able to see all of his half-siblings the ones that you're going to have and the ones that his father has. Maybe.
Yes, Your Honor. The mother and I have talked, and when it is safe, that is definitely something we're open to.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my ruling. Judgment for the plaintiff, $5,000. Thank you.
Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
It's double jeopardy. She was denied sanctions before.
He has no interest in my child. He just doesn't want, he wants to punish me by making sure I can't have access.
I mean, they're both scorned women.
He's just trying to control the situation, the people, the kids. He wants to control everybody, and if it's not going his way, it's a problem for him.
I just want to see my son. That's all I want. Just see my son.
I don't foresee an end coming, but we'll keep doing whatever we can to protect our kids.
You know, one thing I'm sure you're also wondering is how a judge would grant the defendant permanent custody, physical and legal, of two younger children when there's an outstanding permanent restraining order, which is not a low burden to meet to receive a permanent restraining order, especially for a biological child. So I'm just wondering if that was an oversight on the judge that granted him the custody of the two younger ones, or maybe the plaintiff's witness, the mother of those children, really had a record that we didn't see, because I can't think of a reason why I or you or any judge should be granting that sort of custody to someone who had this outstanding permanent restraining order.
Don't know, except she was probably a butte with something. And as between foster care and state care and father, court granted him custody, and it's evidently been without incident over the last 3 years because he still has physical custody. But I think what I said at the end of the case, aside from the fact that she was right, he's making her life a living hell. Since he is raising these two young children, and these two young children are siblings of this boy, they should consider it. And I see that these two ex-wives have at least been talking with regard to that.
You know, I would agree, and I usually agree with that sentiment of the children always come first and they should meet their half-siblings, but I think there's a lot underlying that permanent restraining order that we did not hear here today.
Right.
So you never know what's going on. But she seemed open to it when it was safe, so that was at least a good step.
She
Case
had you falsely
3171,
arrested.
Marco
She said
Kaiser
that you were
versus
harassing
Holcomb.
her.
All parties, please come forward.
They arrested you for DUI, not for
and Luke
harassing her.
Kaiser are suing their former
It
friend,
was the truth.
Thad Holcomb,
I don't care. You
for
can do this all
stolen
you
and
like.
damaged
You were
property
arrested
after
because you were
Thad
driving
house sat
drunk.
for them.
I was already
You're
parked.
married. I don't care. And
This
the
is
defendant
Judy
somebody
Justice.
that you know for a very long time.
Tracy Tartt
From school.
is suing
Lost
Cheryl
touch.
Suttles
According
for
to your
attorney
complaint,
fees,
the
bail money,
defendant has
and lost wages
several times
from a false
house
arrest.
and dog
Court
sat
come to
for
order.
you when you
All
were on
rise.
vacation. According to what I read, he was sort of struggling financially.
Case 3185,
You have
Tartt versus Sells.
Cabin
Thank you.
someplace.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Tartt, it is your
In,
claim that the
southern
defendant
Missouri in the mountains.
had you falsely
How
arrested.
often do you
And you want to be
spend there?
compensated
Well, we
for
now
that.
live there.
Absolutely,
Full
yes, ma'am.
time.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant denies she had you
remote.
falsely
I would say
arrested.
the
She's got a
closest
counterclaim
town where you
that
could
I'm
buy
not really
groceries is
serious
about 30
about.
miles
So I'm
away.
going to
And you get
concentrate
along
on
together
your
that
claim.
well.
You lived in the same complex. What kind of complex was it?
Well, ma'am, she
You
not
always-
lived
you
there.
have neighbors?
I lived in a building
Well,
where
we
you
do.
had to
We
be
don't see
55
them. It's
or
pretty
older.
remote.
How long
I
have you
live there.
Mr. Tartt?
3 years.
Are you still there?
I hear
No,
you.
ma'am. I live in Randolph,
There you
Maryland.
go. You a working person?
I'm a
In any
master in
event,
study
you
of law
asked the
graduate.
defendant
About
to
to
once
drop from
again
law school.
house and dog sit for you. You were
UDC,
going for an
University
extended
District of
3 week.
Columbia.
Who's report? And he
I'm on
said
full
yes,
VA
he
disability.
did. You came home and were
59.
so you received benefits from the VA. How much do you receive from the VA? You are suing him for
$3,700
not
per
only
month.
and who's paying for half of what you paid him, which was $300.
It
But you
will
want him
be
to be responsible
scholarship,
for all the
hopefully,
damage to the
and
house.
student loans.
Mr.
I'm
Holcamp,
not taking my
I don't
LSAT
know
yet, ma'am. I'm
what
planning to take
happened.
my LSAT.
Some, I always think fairies must come into your house after your LSAT at 59. When I left the house, get a positive score on your LSAT. Just tell me when did you graduate from college?
We
Emory University,
left
St.
on
Paul,
November
Minnesota.
13,
How long did you
2023,
attend
and we
that
returned on
2 years.
December 18,
Also graduated from Century
2023.
College.
Mr. Holcamp.
Same time,
Who
2022.
is Sally? What is that? Is that an online school?
That is a
I want you to think really
community
hard
college.
before you
It's a
answer
film
my
and
question
video
because I want you to know. And how did that prepare you to take the LSATs?
Well, it did not prepare
So I
me.
want you to
My
tell me who
master's in
Sally
study
is.
of law was taught by all
is a
attorneys,
woman
legal
that
research and
I
writing,
had
immigration
gotten
law,
into a
bankruptcy
relationship
law,
with.
contract
Okay,
law.
and
Because I'm familiar
Sally
with
has
the
an alcohol
topics,
problem.
it will make it easier for me once
Like
I
I
make
know it, right?
eligible.
Well, I don't know.
Once I
but-
make
You don't know how, but I know.
You're
it.
telling
that
Now
story
you
to this
understand
face?
that we're
I'm
gonna
just
be
asking you.
100%
Square with each other.
Teach me in college.
Perfect.
Because
And
I'm in a
you've known
protected
Sally
class,
had an
and
alcohol
I'm also a
problem.
disabled veteran. I get
You agreed
preferences.
to watch
Well,
your
that's
friend's
okay.
home.
What
You
I'm
started on
suggesting to
November
you, sir,
3rd.
is-
I got there on the
You know,
12th. Luke
never too
came to
late.
pick me up.
Grandma
My
Moel
sister-
took a painting when
Right,
she
well,
was
that's when he
75
picked me
years
up,
old.
and they left.
And I'm still working and I'm
Now,
81.
when
He picked you up, not as sharp as I once was, but I'm once as sharp as I once was.
Correct.
And I'm telling you to start never to take your discussed LSAT having a after a guest marginal at the house. college experience without any emphasis on the law
wasn't intended to have
at
a
age
guest.
59,
Situations-
which means that you won't be,
No, I
if
did
you're
not.
lucky, and get admitted to law school. And if you're lucky
Just say
and
Magoo
pass your courses,
and
law
Luke
school's
Kaiser
3 years,
claim
then you've
their
got to study for the
former
bar.
friend,
Then you've got to
Thad
pass the
Holcamp,
bar. Then you've got to go
damaged
through the
their
character
property
committee.
while
So by the
house
time
sitting
you
for
would be
them.
able to work, you would be
Sally
67.
arrived
If everything falls
arrived
into
twice.
place for you,
First
and I'm just
time,
suggesting
when
to
did
you
she arrive?
that all that
May I
money,
have
that
just put a
scholarship
little
money
bit,
and
just a
public money might be
preamble
best
why
off
she's in
served
there.
for somebody who's
A day or
20,
two prior to
not
the beginning
65.
of our
You know, some
daughter's
people
house,
are
I had
retired on
taken
full
Sally to the hospital.
veterans benefits. And they say, I still need something to keep me busy. Well, if you still need something to keep you busy, maybe you should find gardening. Maybe you should take up something else other than spending $100,000 education on something that you'll never use.
So I get a call.
I'm finished with my speech, Mr. Tart. This is what the case is about. You're suing the defendant because you say she had you falsely arrested. She said that you were harassing her. Police arrested you, and you had lawyers' fees, etc. Ultimately, the case against you was over. I don't know how it was over. You're going to show me. The defendant says that you were a problem, that you were constantly drunk, that you did in fact harass her, and your arrest was not about harassment. It was for being publicly intoxicated. That's what you say in your answer. How did you get her? That's correct. You say that this happened in August. And you were not supposed to use that truck. 2022. August, you bought groceries if you had an emergency. Local. You have something to demonstrate that to me?
I do. I have the police report.
Not just a second. I'd like to see. It's an emergency to you, not to them.
Correct.
And it was important to you, and you would have some company.
Your Honor, may I interject this?
Was this the only time, sir, that you were arrested or taken into custody in the state of Minnesota?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was it.
She better get a good floating device. It is true. Yeah. So that you move on with this case quickly because I read your answer, and you say it was really not truthful to be because under the influence of alcohol. And I read in their complaint you were arrested that there were videos, and I see the screen up here. You were not arrested for harassment, sir. You were arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. So now you've had problems with alcohol. Sally is trying to get off it, but she's already got a destroyed liver. It wasn't a lie, Mr. Tart. You went and picked her up in violation of because when the police you only used the truck for emergencies, as a result of her complaint that you appeared to be intoxicated and you were harassing her, and according to the first officer, you appeared to be under the influence of alcohol. Look at this video. You were slurring your words, your gait was unsteady, your eyes were glassy. Okay, according to the police report, you did a breathalyzer. The legal limit is point.
I call her the homeless woman, is putting a glass top
and the officers then informed you that they were placing you under arrest on suspicion of driving while under the influence of alcohol.
And now
that's what you were arrested for.
And
you were under the influence of alcohol.
When she put the glass top back on the full
Tracy
propane.
Tart
Here they went
claims
drinking.
Cheryl
She's opening up the door.
owes for the cost
She
of having
falls
him
out,
falsely
absolutely
arrested.
dead drunk.
Cheryl
She's
is
doing that with
countersuing
tights
for
pulled down to her
harassment
knees,
and
exposing
invasion
her
of privacy.
buttocks.
Okay,
And
she
here
did
she
say
he is
you
trying
came after her with a knife,
sit her
with a
up.
hammer,
She
with
is
a gun.
completely
You
drunk.
threatened
Of course,
to hit her
he was using
or
our
do
truck
anything
to go
else.
get drunk.
She said you
in the mountains
appeared to be
somewhere.
drunk
and there,
and you
they're
were harassing
fighting.
her.
He's
Well,
locking
you
the
were
door.
drunk.
She's
Just a
coming
second.
down the
You
side of
were
the
drunk.
kitchen.
I have a video,
She's going
which
to
I love
have
for
a
you
little
to see.
fit
Just a
here.
second. All I telling
Knocks
you
the
is
barbecue
your
over, kicks the
entire
lid.
lawsuit
The ashes
is based
are all over
upon
the wooden
fact
deck. This is a
you're
100%
suing
wooden
her
house in the
for
mountains.
filing a false
So
report.
fire is always
The
a
false
problem. Here,
report
I'm not
was
sure
that you
exactly
were
what she's
drunk
holding in her
and
right hand.
harassing her.
Looks to
The
me like a
police
handgun.
confirmed the
In her
fact
left
when
hand
they
is her
stopped
phone.
you that you
He
were
is
drunk.
filming her
That's
because
not a
they're
false
having
police
issues
report,
together.
sir. Why were you
yes, it
filming
was.
her?
No,
To show her what she's doing.
already
Blackout.
stopped. The police didn't pull me
Blackout.
over.
Too many
Stopped me. I
times
was
she's
already
been
parked.
like
This
that.
video, which I would love to see.
Listen to me. The police car followed you
photographs
into
of
the
the
parking lot.
Well, I just
Yes,
went around
that's
the
it.
block.
Sure, absolutely.
They
May I
stopped you
approach her, get
as you were
just
getting out of your car. And the police
well, here's
officer
the car.
said, look, you look a little tipsy to me, you look a little woozy to me. He saw you driving
Yeah,
with
the
an
photographs
alcohol
on
level
everything.
almost 3 times
That's
the
just
legal
one
limit.
issue.
What you do
Okay,
the ATV all you like.
The ATV,
You were arrested
has a
because you were
window,
driving
a windscreen
drunk.
that
Those charges have been dismissed,
clipped the
ma'am.
tree
Listen,
and popped,
I don't
the
care.
little
You may have hired a
rivet
lawyer,
or
and your lawyer may have said, listen, this is a disabled
myself
vet.
and Sally.
This is his first offense. You're responsible for all this
Let's give
damage.
him a clean
dogs
record.
could not
I
have
have
done
no
the
idea
damage
what he
on the
said.
ATV, that's
The
correct.
police
And they did not do the damage on the truck.
stopped you.
I may explain the truck, how
Ultimately
it
gave you a
happened or anything.
breathalyzer,
They
found
didn't
you were 3 times over the legal
They did
limit,
not.
and arrested
And I
you for
assume you're not
DUI.
suggesting
Just
that the
harassing
dogs
her.
peed on the mattress.
Based on her
It was
lie.
exploded.
It wasn't a lie. It was a
You
drunk.
wanted this video
No, listen
to
to
see
me.
this.
No. So it wasn't a lie.
You are
It was
responsible
I don't
for
even
all
have to
this
look at the video.
damage.
Yes, you
You
did.
said you came twice. I'm just curious.
telling you I can come back
One word
You
she
can't.
But I
And
took
she
her the
threatened
first
to-
time back.
So I was going to
the
die,
Cape
ma'am. I am
Sally
diagnosed with
was needing to
significant,
go back to the
serious,
hospital. When she's
recognized
at this
disease
stage,
by
What do you mean she
the
needed to go back to the
Affairs.
hospital?
The flight or
Because
fight syndrome
she started
occurred to me.
drinking
There
things
was no
like
criminal
cordials
intent for
and
me to
wine
jump
that
in my
was in a
vehicle
closet.
to leave.
I
When she had
forgot.
told me
Well,
that I was going to die, that is when I
What you
left
say
and drove
in your
around the block.
answer
If she
is
hadn't been
the house was
harassing
fine
me,
when I left.
I am
If she wouldn't have been harassing you, you
I have
wouldn't have
no
been
idea what
drinking
happened to
before.
the home.
Just a
Also
second.
not
Just
true.
listen.
Maybe
Listen.
someone
Listen.
broke into the
Listen.
house after
Listen to
I
what
left
I'm saying
and
to you,
trashed her place.
You haven't been to law
Either
school yet. You haven't
possibility
passed the bar
is
yet. You
that
haven't
they're
been admitted to
two
practice law yet.
unruly,
So what I'm
poorly
telling you is as
trained dogs for the
follows.
damage.
She
Either way,
made a
it wasn't me.
complaint based
So
upon
that's
her
all
observation.
baloney.
Her observation
And
was
the
you were drunk. You
maximum
were arrested
in your
for
small claims court is
DUI and you
$5,000.
were driving
And they weren't being
drunk.
dropped.
You and Sally did
You
more
have no
than
face.
$5,000. Your case is over. You were arrested for DUI.
I mean, what were you
You were
thinking?
arrested
If
for
I
DUI.
believed
You were
you, the
drunk.
first time you saw
I don't know
Sally
what the
take a
last
drink,
time
you
is
should
that
have
you
put her
had
in
a
the
drink,
trunk
but
and
certainly
taken
you
her
had a
home.
drink on
What you
August
did was you
22nd
took
and
her
got
out
behind the
drinking.
wheel of a car.
And she
Your
blacked
case
out.
is
You had to
dismissed.
call
We're going to
her.
get to your
Couldn't
counterclaim.
lift her.
Likewise,
Couldn't lift her.
it's not. She should have not been there. I Unless you were sort of happy with the company. If you were sort of happy with the company,
Well, I think
so
it's a
drunk
rotten
or sober,
decision.
Well, I
you
was
were
concerned
happy.
about, I'm
It
sitting
didn't
in the
make much
parking lot
difference, so she
for
stayed.
myself.
When
If
you
he
sit
hits
with
my
another
car,
organ
backing up
other
or
than your
pulling in
brain,
forward,
she's threatened to
Take
cost you.
my life.
This
I
one's
know she
going
had
to
a
cost you
gun or nothing.
I'm a
$5,000.
Christian
Just for the
person and I
plaintiff,
don't
we
have
have to
time for
thank you.
killing anybody.
Which court is
Then I
adjourned?
would have came over to her and I would die that day. You can't say that to
His
just
decision
anybody.
was correct.
I mean, I just couldn't believe it. We walked in and our house was
That
completely
case was
destroyed.
actually
was a
made
little
so
bit
easy
early.
by the police
Figured I
report.
was right for
I
it
could
to
tell
get out
the
of
time that you were taking to
triggering
read it, I knew there had to be something good in there.
It blew up.
You should see some.
He wasn't
videos.
arrested for harassing her.
Yeah.
He was arrested
For drunk
Right,
driving.
they do have somebody else.
And he was
Very tough
driving
lesson
drunk.
to
And he was
learn
suing
and
her because he was
careful when you
mad
go
that
out
she
of
was the
town.
reason he got caught.
Make sure you know
He
your
realized
bylaws
that
where they
it's
are
not
and
a
take
cause of
advantage.
action. Maybe once he
Yeah.
goes to law school, he'll learn that.
Only
Okay.
had one thought in that case, which is he was almost sobering enough for me to give up my 2 happy glasses of rosé every night.
At least you can get in and out of the car. So.
Case 3043, Huntsman versus Valdez. All parties please step forward.
Vincent Huntsman is suing his former employee, Jesse Valdez, for an unpaid loan and fraudulently cashing one of his checks.
Mr. Valdez, from when to when did you work for Mr. Huntsman?
Sometime early July to November 1st,
Of 2022?
2022, yes.
And in September of 2022, what was the address where you were living?
Oh, September 1st is Midvale, Utah.
And how long did you live there?
I'm still currently living there.
And in order to get that apartment, you needed security deposit.
Yes.
Now, you were working for Mr. Huntsman and doing insulation.
Yes.
And he wanted you to be a worker, and you wanted to be a worker. You have children, 1 or more.
2.
Do you have a wife? Is not an answer.
She's a girlfriend, sorry. Yeah.
You have a girlfriend. Is she the mother of the 2 children?
She is.
Does she work?
She does.
And you don't work anymore. You are a stay-at-home dad.
Currently, yes. I do what I can.
You needed security deposit for this apartment when you moved in.
I didn't need it.
Well, in order to live there, you had to have security deposit.
Yes.
And you didn't have it.
Correct.
And the total security deposit that was needed for this apartment was $2,800.
Correct.
You were also living there, in addition to your girlfriend and 2 children, with one other employee who was a friend of yours.
It's my cousin's boyfriend, but also a friend, yes.
He was eventually evicted from the apartment.
He was.
Now, you took from Mr. Huntsman the $2,800, which is currently with the landlord.
It is, yes.
And according to what I read, the money was going to come from your work
Yeah.
for Mr. Huntsman.
Yes.
course, that was-
Could we back up just a second?
Sure.
Could we ask that question one more time? Just so I
The
know.
money was supposed to come. Listen, he didn't give you $2,800. I want you to understand that right now. That's not going through my mind.
Okay.
This is a very smart old mind.
Okay.
I can understand that you needed an apartment. You needed a place to live. He wanted you to come to work for them, and he advanced the money for security deposit so you had a place to live.
Yes.
That's what happened. And then the next month, you decided to be a stay-at-home dad.
I had no option.
I don't care. What does that matter to Mr. Huntsman? Do I care? Does Sarah care that you had no option? Whitney doesn't care. Not even Kevin cares if you have no option.
Okay.
Nobody cares if you have no option, especially a stranger. Tell your girlfriend to get 2 jobs. You get 2 jobs, put your kids in daycare.
Okay.
That's what people do when they need money.
I didn't need the money. It wasn't for me.
What do you mean it wasn't? You're still living in the apartment.
Yeah, I know it wasn't.
Just a second. You're still living in the apartment. The landlord still has the $2,800 that he gave you.
Yeah.
And giving it to you with the idea that you were going to be an employee. That's what you said in your answer. That's why I don't understand you, Mr. Valdez. You said that in your answer, that he gave you the money because he wanted both you and your girlfriend's cousin, whoever else moved into the apartment with you, he wanted you to come to work for him, and it was important enough for him, you say, to make a gift for you of $2,800 because he needed you to be a good worker. That's what you say in your answer.
Yeah.
And then you quit.
I did.
A month after you got the money, you quit. That's this timetable.
Yeah, but there's some context to it that you're not picking up on.
The context was?
The context was that I had the money for my half. My cousin and her boyfriend did not have the money to come up with the other half.
Did you use your money? Now, my question, did you
For
use?
my half, yes.
Did you? So you used your $1,400 for your half? Is that what you're telling me?
I used $2,500 of my own money for my half because after the background checks came and the credit checks came, it went from $1,400 to $2,550.
Was that for rent or security?
Security.
Show me a check where you used your money for the security. Then I'm going to dismiss his case.
September 2022. At the top is some money that we moved from our accounts from our credit. So I had to move some funds around. Here's your pen. I had to move some funds around to cover our end. And then slightly after that.
There's a difference between security deposit and rent.
Yeah.
Well, I see a deposit here, September 3rd, 2022, $1,400. Where'd that come from?
That would be the first check that I received from Vince.
And then I see another deposit on August 19th, $1,400.
Yes.
Where'd that money come from?
That came from Vince as well.
Okay. $2,800, judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
I've always been, I own my own business, and I like to see people succeed and help them out.
He gifted us the money, hands down.
Hopefully you just can't keep doing it to people over and over and over and over. And you can move on with his life and be a better person, period.
I guess I just got to make better decisions, really.
I actually thought that was hysterical because in the defendant's paperwork, he acknowledged that the plaintiff really wanted him as a worker, and therefore he made a gift to him in anticipation of him being a worker for him of this deposit. And then a month later, he quit to be a stay-at-home dad.
It's convenient when your debt that's owed is tied to your wage payments.
Yeah, right. Very convenient. Oh my God, I don't know what these people are thinking.
The audacity.
Yes. I always find that fascinating when people just take advantage of good nature.
But then don't even see it themselves as taking advantage of good nature.
No, I had to. I had no choice.
I had no option, no choice. It's the problem with today, I think.
Case number 3096, Corcoran versus Curry. All parties, please step forward.
Christopher Corcoran is suing his former employee, Joshua Curry, for unpaid legal fees.
Mr. Corcoran, the case is relatively simple and straightforward. It is your claim that the defendant owes you for legal fees that you paid on his behalf.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Curry says that there was never an agreement to pay you anything, and you paid legal fees for him for a criminal matter because he was such a valued employee that without him, your business couldn't function.
That's very true, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's relatively easy. How long did you work for Mr. Corcoran, Mr. Curry? From when to when?
August of 2020 until September of 2023.
And how much did you earn?
200 to 300, depending on how long it was.
So you want to tell me when you got into some legal trouble?
It was July 5th morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning. I had heard some news from one of my friends passing away from a motorcycle wreck, and I was just a little emotional. Went on a motorcycle ride myself, and the police tried to pull me over, which I made a bad decision and didn't pull over.
Well, let's go back a second. I just want to make sure I'm hearing it right. You got some very bad news that a friend of yours had been killed in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
And you were very upset about it.
Well, emotional, yes.
You were upset about it, hadn't been drinking.
Nope.
No drugs.
Nope.
So at 4 o'clock in the morning, you decided to go on a motorcycle ride.
Yep.
Where did you take your motorcycle for a ride?
I was just going for a ride through Marymount.
And is that a big town or a little town?
It's a small little town outside Cincinnati.
And the police must see you because you're going to tell me what happened when the police tried to pull you over.
Well, there was like a medium from one direction to the other from the way the cop was coming. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything illegal. They busted you. He came up behind me and was trying to pull me over for what I thought for no reason.
So the police were trying to pull you over while you were riding your motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what happened?
Emotions got the best of me. I flipped the bird and just took off.
Okay.
Christopher Corcoran claims his former employee, Joshua Curry, owes for attorney fees he loaned to Joshua.
So you made a middle finger gesture?
Yes, ma'am.
And took off on your motorcycle?
That's right.
How fast did you take off?
I probably hit 100 miles an hour at some point.
So now you're driving 100 miles an hour through this small town in Ohio. Police try to pull you over. High-speed chase. They finally got you to pull over.
Yes, ma'am.
And they arrested you.
Well, they impounded my bike, and they actually took me home once they realized that I didn't do anything wrong.
Don't tell me what they realized. You can't tell me what they realized. They impounded your bike.
Yes, and they drove me home and gave me failure to comply.
So they gave you a ticket.
Well, it's a ticket, which was a misdemeanor ticket, yes.
Were you originally charged with a misdemeanor or with a felony?
I think it was a misdemeanor. It was a misdemeanor.
Let me see what you're looking at. Okay, so at some point, you got in touch with your boss. Mm-hmm. Tell me when that was.
Probably later on that evening, that day. And I told him I was in trouble with him.
And at that point, did you ask him to do anything for you?
Not at that point, no.
At what point?
I don't really remember. It was just more or less like, we're going to handle this. You know, we'll make sure everything's okay kind of conversations.
Okay. Now I'm going to come to you, Mr. Corcoran. First of all, you have a business that is what?
It's a commercial construction. We had set up pallet racking and warehouse.
When did you start the business?
2008.
Is the business still ongoing?
Yes.
And it's still ongoing, so you've managed to keep your business even after this valued employee is gone.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I have to tell you something, Mr. Curry. The only time that you become indispensable is when the show has your name on it. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Other than that, everybody can be replaced. I say that because your defense is, because what Mr. Corcoran did is he contacted a lawyer on your behalf, and that's the money he wants. And your position was you never asked him for it, you just did it. Okay, so you tell me about the conversation that you had with Mr. Corcoran when he called the next day.
He called me and told me that, pretty much verbatim.
Exactly what he told me.
He went to court. He called me after court. He said, I don't know what to do. He said, they told me to come back with an attorney.
So now he's going back and he said to you, this is bad. I have to go back to court. They told me to come back with a lawyer. Did you tell him that?
Well, yeah.
And you said to him?
I said, let me make a phone call. I'll get in touch with my attorney. He'll call you, get your side of it, and we'll go from there.
So you called your lawyer.
So I called my attorney. He called Mr. Curry. They spoke. He called me back. He says, Chris, this is bad. This is bad. He said he's going to do some time on this.
And then?
He said, he said he doesn't have any money, and he told me $6,000. So I told Mr. Curry, and he says, well, I don't have that. I said, well, I'll take it out of your check, and on we went.
Is that what he said to you?
Well, that's not really how I remember the conversation, but I mean, it was a couple years ago.
I would like you to tell me how, Mr. Curry, you remember the conversation.
Well, I just remember him saying that, I have a friend that's a lawyer. We'll take care of this. We'll get it handled.
Well, Mr. Curry, what I'm asking you is, you're not related to him. You're not his brother. You're not his cousin. You're not his son-in-law. You're an employee. If you knew about the amount of money, $6,000, why in the world would you think that he was just going to cover that for you?
I mean, he brought it up to me after the fact that it was paid. Like, I didn't have a chance to say yes or no to $6,000.
Well, you knew the lawyer wasn't working for nothing.
Well, I completely understand that. But I also thought the way that he approached me was like, we're going to take care of this.
Okay. May I see the invoice from the attorney and a copy of your check? You have a copy of your check?
No, I paid cash.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No,
Your Honor.
This doesn't do it for me, sir. Show me where you took $6,000 from.
Out of my safe. I mean, I keep a lot of cash on hand at the house.
Well, I'm not believing you, sir. I'm going to tell you I'm not believing you. Because there's no reason why you would pay a lawyer in cash for somebody else when the somebody else is expected to pay you back, so you have absolutely no proof that you paid anybody. You loaned somebody money to pay a lawyer. You paid that lawyer by check, and you have proof of it. There's a possibility that you did lay out some money for him, for a lawyer. I don't believe it was $6,000 because this is not a lawyer's invoice.
I can get him on the phone.
Oh, no, I'm absolutely positive that you can get somebody on the phone, sir. Unless I have proof that the amount of money that you laid out for Mr. Curry, I'm dismissing your case without prejudice. You go and plead it to somebody else. I don't buy it. We're done here.
This court is adjourned.
You're making a loan to somebody, especially in a case like this where there was no family relation, like you said, no particular reason why the plaintiff would just out of the kindness of his heart step up and pay this bill. I would want a paper trail or 2 or 3 to ensure that they could not go back on their word to repay you for the loan that you so nicely laid out for them. And I found it almost as odd as you that he paid cash and didn't even have anything as far as a handwritten note that said, I paid this to the lawyer on this day, signed by someone. It doesn't even have to be official, but just pulling $6,000 out of your safe in cash, it's less than what we needed for his loan.
You know, what's interesting, Sarah, is I actually think he got a lawyer to go in with him on what was a ticket.
Yeah.
But certainly no lawyer would say, oh, that's very serious. He's looking at serious jail. That's baloney, unless there was another charge there. But I don't see why a lawyer would demand $6,000 in cash. It doesn't make sense to me.
And if it doesn't make sense,
it's not true. This young man vandalized your home.
Correct.
Come over here. Take the pen and show me where the damage was.
Here.
He did not vandalize her house. He vandalized the other house.
I don't believe a word of that. Give me my pen back. You tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
This is Judy Justice. Tanya Labriola is suing her neighbor, Noel Chang, for vandalism caused by her 11-year-old son, William.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Judge, case 3151, Labriola versus Chang.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You own a home.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your allegation that I assume this young man, who is your son,
Yes, ma'am.
vandalized your home.
Correct.
Which had been freshly painted because you added an addition, so it was just painted. And he vandalized it by throwing paint on it and some fencing or some wall. And the defendant's mother says he wasn't the instigator. He did, in fact, do it, but she was going to clean it off. And she thought your estimate to fix it was too high. So what's your first name?
William.
Stand up with your mother. You're 10?
11, ma'am.
Tall for 11.
Thank you.
Okay, so on what date did you vandalize the plaintiff's house?
I'm not sure.
What month was it?
December.
Saturday or Sunday?
Pretty sure it was a Sunday.
Do you remember what time?
No.
Morning, afternoon, night?
Morning, going transitioning into the afternoon.
What were you doing outside? Did your mother tell you to go outside?
Yes.
And who did you go outside with?
My friend.
Did you take your bikes or did you walk?
Bikes.
And you went over to where the plaintiff's house is, and there's also a construction site. So I want you to go over there and show me where you and your friend went. All right, now, point to the plaintiff's house. Okay, so you went to the house next door?
Yes.
Were they doing construction at the house next door?
What do you mean by that? like people there currently.
You threw paint on the plaintiff's house. Where did you get the paint from? Show me in that picture. That's what I thought. So you got the paint from somebody else's house.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand? You got the paint from somebody else's house and took the paint to the plaintiff's house.
Can I clarify?
Sure.
My understanding is he did not vandalize her house. He vandalized the other house.
Well, you don't know that at all, actually. You don't know that at all because you weren't there. You don't know that at all.
On the evidence and what my son said, that it is true. He vandalized one house and the other kid vandalized the other house.
Okay. Now, come over here. If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. Take the pen and show me where you walked and where you got the paint. You walk there and then stop where you got the paint. You got the paint there. How many cans of paint were there?
4.
4. So there were 4-gallon cans of paint?
No.
How big?
Yeah, big, not very big.
4. So you each carry 2?
No, I took 1, he took 3.
And what was your intention when you took the 1?
Use it on this house.
Use it for what on the house?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I wasn't really thinking.
When did you and your friend separate?
About right there.
And show me where you stayed and show me where your friend went. What is that with the pen? You stayed where?
Here. Went here.
And you let him go there all by himself?
Yes.
I don't believe a word of that. Give me my pen back. Give me my pen back.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you can go stand with your mother. You have an estimate to paint the house?
I do.
May I see it, please? And I'd like to see the photographs.
Absolutely. I have an estimate for the repainting as well as the north side of my house. The fence was splattered with paint as well. And then I had 6 boxes of flooring that were damaged. And
let me just
I have
see.
all of that. And here is the damages.
And the estimate that you got was $3,800, and you said that the other people paid $1,900, which is half. Okay.
Correct. And then I received an invoice for the fence painting, which I didn't have initially, and as well as the flooring.
That's too bad. $1,900, which, as you said, is half the estimate. Now I want to see. Okay. So now I have this question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
When you came home, your mother said to you, you have paint on your shoes, right?
Yes.
And she asked you what happened. How'd you get paint on your shoes? Tell me what you told her.
I told her that I went over to the house down the road.
You got it at the house down the road?
Yes.
You had to have told her more because she went with you to where the damage was to the house and you started cleaning it with your mother, correct?
Correct.
And where did you start to clean with your mother first? Because pay careful attention, because when the plaintiff came home, she found you and your mother cleaning the house in the back. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So now what I want you to do is show me when you and your mother first came to the property, where did you show her the damage was? Go over there. Show me where you told your mother the damage was.
Here and here.
Well, how did you know the damage was there? You said that you didn't go there. How did you know that there was any damage there?
Tanya Labriola claims her neighbor, Noelle Chang, owes for property damage after her 11-year-old son, William, vandalized her house.
Now, you said that you stayed right in the back of that first house and your friend went all the way up. Don't raise your hand. And your friend went all the way around the house with the 3 cans of paint that he was carrying. You only had 1. So how did you know that there was any damage to the plaintiff's house?
Because there wasn't any trees here and you could just blatantly see them doing the paint over here.
It's not a flat house. It's a big house. Madam, walk over to the house and show me where the paint was on your house.
Can you show me a more accurate picture of the property?
No.
Picture.
Put it down. Show me where the damage was to your house. In the back end.
It was in all 3 sides. Yes, ma'am.
All 3 sides?
Mm-hmm. Just not the front.
Okay. And you said that you didn't move from the back of the first house when your friend went all the way around the house. So my question now to you is, when you pulled up in your driveway and found the defendant's mother and this young man cleaning your house, where were they cleaning? Show me.
Okay, the mom was over here and her son was over here.
So the son was cleaning the house that he allegedly had nothing to do with vandalizing. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Step back. You two. Anything else you want to tell me?
No, ma'am.
You know, I sort of know that this is the last time, at least I believe that this is the last time you're going to be in court like this. I sort of have that here because I think that this was an unpleasant experience both for you and your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you get older, you realize that you don't want to repeat unpleasant situations because you get embarrassed. Your mother is embarrassed. I mean, your mother had other things to do rather than putting on plastic gloves and going scrubbing off latex paint on somebody else's house that day. So if you do the wrong thing happens. Now, if you do the right thing in life, it's not a guarantee that everything will go well for you. But I'm going to tell you, it's a damn good start. So if you try to do what is being a good citizen, what's being a good person. That's being a good neighbor. Do you live in a house?
Yes.
Does your mom own that house?
Yes, but I think she's still paying her mortgage.
Well, that she owns it if she's still paying a mortgage, but that's observant. So she owns her own house.
Yes.
How do you think she would feel if somebody came and threw paint on her house?
Upset.
Right. Because she's paying a mortgage. She wants it to look nice. She wants you to have a nice place to live. So you seem like a nice young man. And you have to realize there are repercussions when you do the wrong thing. This lady had a house. She built an extension. She repainted the house. And somebody comes along and for sport vandalizes it with their friend. Because this was what we call a joint venture with your friend. Then you had to get your mother involved. This was on a weekend.
Yes.
So on a day when she doesn't work, she would ordinarily clean her own house. So instead she had to get all dressed and ready and go and scrub a stranger's house. Not fair, right? Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,900. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Devastated because I'm a teacher, a single mom of 2, and I've been working for years to save. I work 2 jobs, so it's heartbreaking.
Ultimately, I'm the one who is going to be responsible for paying the bill.
No, I think they were just 12 or 11, whatever age they were, and just wanted to do what they wanted to do.
I hope this will put me on the path to do the right thing, and hopefully I really, really will try my best to not make this kind of mistake.
That actions have consequences.
Ready to put it behind me.
Oh, how you love the youth and to set them on the right path. That was a very well-spoken, seemed confident, smart 11-year-old.
Yeah.
And I think you scared it into him to make the right choices. And this seemed like a one-off type situation for him. It didn't seem like this was a trait that he carries on daily, in his regular life. And you never know. This experience for him might just be the thing that keeps him from ever doing anything like this again. It might be the little voice over peer pressure, over, instigation that could save him from making another mistake in his young years.
I used to say that in family court all the time, that I thought it was unwise to allow young people like this, or a little bit older, who committed these acts of vandalism, knocked over somebody's vegetable cart, took rocks and... I do it last year. I don't turn down. I don't claim on the fall. I don't need you. I don't want you to love me more. I have children and grandchildren. 10 years is a long time. That's a grandchild. She didn't see me at least once a month. She better keep her fingers crossed that I don't change my will.
Sean Rubin is suing his brother, Randall Rubin, for unpaid funeral expenses. Randall is countersuing, claiming Sean defamed him.
So now, if what you're asking me, Mr. Rubin, is to find that you had an agreement with your brother to pay 1/3 of the funeral expenses, because the two of you each paid 1/3 of the funeral expenses, is that what you did?
Well, Your Honor,
that's either a yes or a no.
It is a no. I'm the only one that had the money to process our mother. He would not even sign to get her processed to continue the cremation. I have evidence here I'd like to submit to you where he agreed to pay me half of it out of his life insurance.
Okay, that's
I have
all.
text from
If
him.
just a second. I'm going to take a look at it. You have to understand, Mr. Rubin,
Yes.
that at this point, if I find that he agreed to pay for half, then you understand that you agreed to pay for half of her funeral. Ordinarily, the funeral expenses, you may front the money for those funeral expenses, but if the deceased had sufficient money in their estate to cover their last expenses, and those would be medical expenses, which you paid out of the estate, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Taxes, which you paid out of the estate.
Yes, Your Honor.
You paid out of the estate after you sold the house, broker's fees, state tax fees, along with those kinds of fees would be funeral expenses. Now, if the two of you agreed, or the two brothers agreed, which is what you're saying, that he agreed to pay half, not 1/3, but he agreed to pay half of the funeral expenses for which you are not being reimbursed by the estate. Do you understand?
Correct. I have not received anything from the estate, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, this would be you. I'll let you know tomorrow. I think it's $2,200 for Menorah Gardens, and cremation was $1,053, so it's $1,626 each. That would be you, right?
Yes.
Okay, 1,626. Because you asked him how much you owed, right?
I did.
So I assume since you asked him how much you owed, you had some sort of an arrangement with him to pay a third, because it does say a third, of the funeral expenses.
That is correct.
Okay, great.
I do want to interject, Your Honor, and let you know that when I did receive my monies, the $2,500 from her life insurance, we had communicated with one another that I had some emergency dental work that needed to be done. It was life-threatening. And therefore, he said, I don't have the email because I had to block him. I have a restraining order against him. So I lost all my emails between us.
Listen,
However,
nobody ever has their emails here
I have
or a video.
A very substantial amount of those monies went for my dental.
I don't care. How old are you?
59, ma'am.
You have lived rent-free for 30 years. And according to you, you had businesses. You worked most of that time, either selling cars or on and off for a company for 30 years. You made an agreement with your brother to pay 1/3 of your mother's funeral expenses. And as far as I'm concerned, if you had dental problems, pay for it from the resources of one of your businesses because you had no expenses. You have very little sympathy for you. You lived in the house for months without paying the mortgage. That's outrageous. That's taking money away from them. Do you understand that?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
say you lived in the house for 3 months rent-free, at least 3 months rent-free. So if you paid mortgage payments for 2 months, I would say to you, sounds pretty reasonable to me. You know, there's a story that's created.
Correct.
And what's created here is there's unequivocal information in these text messages that you and your brother and sister, because you, sir, are claiming that he owes half. He doesn't owe half. That was never the agreement, according to what you gave me. According to what you gave me, and in your own hand, you say this is what you owe me, $1,600, not $2,600.
Well, Your Honor, if I can explain, the reason why I said half is only me and my brother were included in the life insurance policy. My sister was not named on it, and it was only for $5,000. So,
sir, listen carefully to me.
I mean, if we put our money together, we could have paid for it.
Listen carefully to me. That has nothing to do with you.
Exactly. The same with
The
his dental
proceeds
has
of your
nothing to do with
mother's
me.
final resting should have come out of the estate. That way it would have been borne equally between the 3 people who will profit from the estate. You understand?
I understand, Your Honor.
Very good. So if you understand that, the math is simple. If he pays a third, you get your sister to kick in whatever she's getting back from the $25,000, and everybody is equal.
Well, Your Honor, I mean, you're already getting the vibe that this guy is the biggest bum who lives with his mother,
Just a
sponge
second.
off of his mother.
Let me explain something to you. That is unnecessary here. Unnecessary and really quite stupid. Stupid. You handed me evidence, sir, that you made an agreement with him. He asked you what he owed. You told him.
Yes.
$1,600. That's what you told him that he owes you, $1,600.
That's correct.
And each of you are getting a certain amount of money for nothing from your mother. I'm going to ask you some questions. Prior to her death, when was the last time you saw her? When was the last time you saw your mother? Month and year?
I honestly do not recall, Your Honor.
Okay,
because
just a
her
second.
home-
Was it in the decade that she died?
Yes.
Okay, well, she died in 2021. So when did you see her?
Probably several years before that, Your Honor.
Well, so you didn't see her in the decade before?
Your Honor, you have to understand, her house was infested with bed bugs.
Pay careful attention to me. I asked you some questions.
Yes.
My question was, when was the last time you saw your mother? So you hadn't seen your mother in a decade. When was the last time you saw your mother?
I saw my mother frequently, Your Honor. It was Mother's Day.
Okay, Mother's Day of
2021.
And Your Honor,
I'm not speaking to you. March of 2021. Prior to that, when did you see your mother?
November 2021.
Wait a minute. How did you see her in November 2021 if she passed in August of 2021?
November 2020.
Okay, May 2021, November of 2020. Prior to that, when did you see your mother?
I saw her frequently because...
No, not frequently. Month and year.
I don't have the...
Did you see her every month?
No, Your Honor.
Did you see her every 2 months?
About that, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, between May and November, that's more than 2 months. That's when you can remember.
Yes, Your Honor.
So it would be fair to say that whether he took great care of her and whether the house was clean or dirty or anything else, your 86-year-old mother lived with your brother, whether you like him or not, and you were totally disinterested in her. You're the one who started this, or I was about ready to finish this case, but when you say he's a bum, I think, you know what? This guy's got to be put in his place. He may have been, but he was the bum who took care of your mother. You started it.
Sean Rubin is accusing his brother, Randall Rubin, of not paying his share of funeral expenses. Randall claims Sean spread multiple lies about him.
So it would be fair to say that whether he took great care of her and whether the house was clean or dirty or anything else, your 86-year-old mother lived with your brother, whether you like him or not, and you were totally disinterested in her.
Well, that's not true, Your Honor.
Well, I want to know if you didn't see your mother in a decade, and she had failing health, I would say, as a child, you were totally disinterested in her.
I did visit my mother after she had kidney replacement or kidney surgery. I visited her after her surgery. We both did.
Just a second. Do you understand where I'm coming from, sir?
I do.
I have children and grandchildren, right?
Sure.
10 years is a long time. That's a grandchild. If she didn't see me at least once a month, she better keep her fingers crossed that I don't change my will.
Well, Your Honor, I'm sure that Sarah is very close to you, where we live out of state.
Just a second.
We both have real jobs.
Just a second. If her father didn't visit me at least once a month, and we live in different states, he too would check the will. So what I'm telling you is, if you don't see your mother for 10 years, you are a disinterested child. You're the one who started this, or I was about ready to finish this case, but when you say he's a bum, I say, you know what? This guy's got to be put in his place. He may have been, but he was the bum who took care of your mother.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, really? Did your mother have full-time nursing care for the last 10 years? The answer is either yes or no.
That's an absolute no.
She declined.
That's not what I asked you. Not what she declined. Did she have full-time nursing care? That's a yes or a no?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so if she didn't have full-time nursing care and she was in poor health because, based upon your blurted-out answer to me, you thought she should have full-time care.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, but she didn't. So he took care of her. You don't like the way he took care of her. That's your prerogative, but you let him take care of her. And you went about your business in your own states where you live, and he took care of her. And you didn't like him, and he may have been a sponge and a bum. You started it. But you were not interested enough in your mother to move next door to her, or to have her move next door to you when she got sick.
Your Honor,
somebody else
I actually did ask her to move in with me, and she declined.
Right. She didn't want to live with you. There had to be a reason for that if she was being abused.
Your Honor, there is.
Unless, do I look like I need help from you?
No, of course not.
Then I want you to be quiet.
Yes, ma'am.
You owe him $1,600. That's it, not $26. What he's asking you. Put it down.
I have a counterclaim.
$1,600, and I'll hear your counterclaim.
Thank you.
Which sounds a little ridiculous to me. I'm finished with you. $1,600. That's what you owe, except for the counterclaim, which I'll hear. Well, the counterclaim is that they posted something on the internet that says that there were bugs in the shoes you were selling. If that's just a second, quiet. Your counterclaim says that he defamed you and your business because he wrote on the internet that there were bugs in the shoes you were selling. I couldn't make that up. Let me see. Maybe I did make it
correct.
up.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
he posted
what he
that there were bugs in the shoes I was selling.
He also put that I impregnate Hispanic women.
Just a second. First of all, that's not in here.
It's right here, ma'am.
It's not in my answer. So I want to see where he wrote, and who knows what you're doing in Mexico. I have no idea what you're doing in Mexico. Show me what he wrote about the bugs in the shoes that you're selling. Giving me a whole lot of nonsense there that I'm not going to read.
It's not.
You give me.
These are the posts that he put online.
I only want to.
These are also letters from my mother in her own.
I'm not reading the letters from your mother.
Okay.
I'm reading a post or more where he says there are bugs in the shoes you are selling.
Yes.
Period.
Do you want to hear the audio that he sent to one of my employers?
No, I want to see where he wrote there are bugs in the shoes you are selling, which is what's in my answer.
Right here, ma'am.
May I have it, please?
And I do have a restraining order on him as well.
I'm not interested in your restraining order. Okay, so this has nothing to do with anything. I'm going to give this back to you, and if you don't hand me exactly what I asked for, I'm dismissing. I'm not reading all that drivel. I asked you for one post.
Your Honor, if you'd like to say
I don't want to hear you.
This is what I wrote.
I don't want. This is not your case to prove, sir.
Okay. I'm just trying to be honest.
Here you go, Your Honor. This is one that
Thank you.
wrote
Don't
to
tell
my
me
employer.
one. Just give me the posts about shoes. This has nothing to do with shoes.
This one is in
Well,
Spanish.
if you show me one more thing that doesn't say bugs and shoes, I'm just dismissing your case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Please look at this one. It is in Spanish.
Well, no, that's your problem. The counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600. We're finished here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
I'm very pleased with the judge's decision. I think she made the right decision.
I wasn't really thrilled.
I'm just kind of glad it's over. I never want to see my brother again.
We're a very estranged bunch of people. We do not like each other.
She didn't raise him right. She raised us right, and we're going to do the right thing on behalf of our mom.
First and foremost, I will visit you every month, every week, every day, if that's what it takes. But in all seriousness, this case shows how foolish it is not to memorialize your wishes for the end, because it creates a heightened sense of stress at a time when emotions are already running high. And first rule of wills, trust, and estates class is always have a will. So it doesn't matter how much you have, how little you have. It's important, your wishes, and to prevent situations like this, your loved ones having to go through.
And be angry with each other. I mean, they don't love each other anyway, but to be angry with each other, if you can avoid that. Even young people, Sarah, who have put anything together. Yeah. You have a will?
I do.
There you go.
I wouldn't want my loved ones going through that. So, yeah, you have to take the time and write it down. And yeah, that's really all you can do to avoid the situation.
Customer Zach Thompson for the balance of a puppy.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2044, Bearden versus Thompson.
Mr. Bearden.
Yes, Your Honor.
It is your claim that the defendant owes you the balance of a dog that you sold to him.
Correct, Your Honor.
That's what the case is about. Defendant says he doesn't really think he got what he bargained for, and while he has no intention of returning the dog to you, he doesn't want to pay the balance.
Yes.
Be a yes. So I have a couple of questions because it's not a terribly difficult case. You say in your complaint that you are a breeder of full-blood tricolor bullies.
Correct. Bully breed, American bullies, and these are tricolor American bullies, which have 5 different distinctions within the American bully breed.
I don't want you to try to confuse me
Yes, ma'am.
any more than I'm confused about this.
Yes, ma'am.
Is an American bully a pit bull?
No, I have proof.
It is not.
It is not.
What is it a combination of?
Yes, it is a combination of.
Well, I know it's a combination of, but it's been recognized by the American Kennel Club as an independent breed of dog. But that is only recently. What is the American bully a combination of?
Honestly, can I read what I have?
No, if you say I don't, listen to me.
Yeah,
I know it's very, very
don't know.
hard for men to say 3 words. I don't know. Somehow they can say, I love you, I hate you, get out of my parking space, you're snoring. They can say a whole bunch of things, but they have trouble saying those 3 words.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know.
I fully own that. Yes, ma'am.
I
don't know.
Don't know. Well, Sarah, look it up.
Will do.
American bully.
Says that originally standardized and recognized as a breed in 2004 by the American Bully Kennel Club.
2004. So if it's recognized a breed in 2004, it's got to be a mix of something.
So the American Bully was started by crossing the American Pit Bull Terrier with other dogs in the Bully breed family, and sometimes dogs outside of the Bully breed family. But it's become its own breed.
It's become its own breed, but started with the American Pit Bull. That's what that says. Do you want her to read it again?
So there's also bully dogs are descendants from the crosses between ancient bulldogs and a variety of British terriers. And this says an American bully was started by the crossing of the American Pit Bull Terrier with dogs in the other bully breed family.
And ultimately, it was recognized as a breed unto itself, although I don't understand how that could happen. If you're a cross between one breed, the American Pit Bull, and a variety of other dogs, you know, that's like a golden doodle. That's like a golden retriever and a poodle. Isn't that what a golden doodle is?
I believe so.
But it's not a breed unto itself. It's a cross between a couple of dogs, so it takes many years. And this sounds to me, at least, Mr. Bearden, as the bullies that you're describing that you breed, the genesis of that breed is an American Pit Bull with a variety of other things. It could be a boxer.
It could also, like the father, it could be Rottweiler. Like the father of the puppies that he got, he has all the markings of a Rottweiler, but he has the head shape and body style that represents more of the Pit Bull style.
So that's information that I am now at least a little armed with. So now I'm going to come back to you. You're the breeder. And you said the puppies, that the litter that you sold to him, one of the puppies, has Rottweiler in it.
No, I'm not saying that it has Rottweiler. I'm saying that the physical representation of it, the markings, the brown over the eyes, the brown hair, that's what the dad looks like. The puppies don't look like
Just a second. So you bred the dogs. What breed is the father?
The father is American Bully. He's considered an XL American Bully.
The father is an American bully. In the father's history, it appears, based upon the look of the dog, is this what I'm understanding?
Yes.
It's a Rottweiler. In the history of the dog...
Yeah, it could possibly, yes. That's why he looks like that now,
It
yes.
could possibly be a gerbil. But a gerbil doesn't have distinctive markings. What you're telling me is the dog has the distinctive markings of a Rottweiler, but the body of a pit bull.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, what a combo.
He's beautiful. He's a beautiful dog.
They're beautiful dogs. Both of those dogs, by the way, will not be covered by most insurance policies. Pit bulls and Rottweilers. You do know that?
Yes.
Say yes loud.
Yes, yes, I know that, yes.
Okay. Did you know that?
I did not.
Well, it's interesting. Do you own your own home?
Yeah.
Yes is an answer.
Yes.
Do you have homeowners insurance?
Yes.
In your application for homeowners insurance, they would ask you what kind of dog you have, if you have any. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Did you write down what kind of a dog you had?
I didn't have a dog at the time.
I want you to read over your homeowner's policy, wherever you live. Who are you covered by?
Not exactly sure.
What do you mean not certain? You don't know who your homeowner's policy is with?
It's all in the bill.
What?
It's all paid for, one yearly fee.
You mean for your car, for your home?
Yes.
Everything else? I would check, sir. If you own your own home, did you have a lot invested in your home?
Yes.
I would take a look, because many insurance companies now will not insure or charge an extra premium if they would insure homes that have, as part of their household, certain breeds of dogs. I am telling you, and he knows it, that pit bulls and Rottweilers are in that group.
Yep.
So if something happens and your dog bites somebody and they will sue you, and you'll say, well, I have homeowners insurance, your policy might just disclaim.
That's why I didn't want a pit bull.
What do you think you got?
A pit bull.
You got an American bully, and it's not so hard to look up. You do have a tablet or something?
A bully, when you look it up, it actually is American Bulldog and a Stanford Terrier. It's
Well,
not,
an American Bulldog and a Staffordshire Terrier. You know what Staffordshire Terrier is.
yeah.
What is it?
I mean, it's a pit bull.
Right, that's what it is. Everybody tries to use different language because they want to get away from that. It's a bully, it's a terrier, it's a something else. But bottom line, that's what it is. And you know that's what it is, whether it's a half or a quarter. You know it's listed among those breeds that the insurance company is not going to cover you for. And you have knowledge of that. You got to be careful. So it was your understanding that you were purchasing from the plaintiff a what?
A full 100% bully.
There's no 100% bully. There is no 100% bully. You just told me a bully is a mix between a...
After so long, it's considered a full bully. That's from my understanding.
That's not what that says. It says among other things. You really have to be more vigilant. Don't tell me what your friends told you. Don't tell me what they did. Don't tell me what they said. He told you that he was selling you an American bully.
Dog breeder Kenneth Bearden claims his customer, Zach Thompson, owes for the balance of a puppy. Zach says he did not receive the full-blooded American bully he purchased.
Okay, tell me when and under what circumstances Mr. Thompson purchased this puppy from you.
Yes, Your Honor. On April 28th, the defendant reached out to me. He was stating his name. Sorry. He was stated his name and that his daughter was playing with a puppy of a friend of his, and that friend of his had bought one of the puppies from my litter. She fell in love with the dog. She loved it. He wanted to come by and possibly get another puppy.
How old's your daughter?
7.
If I could do that thing that some people do and, cross their eyes on purpose, I would do that for you. Is this your only child?
Yes.
After he reached out to me, we exchanged numbers and spoke for a few days over Facebook Messenger. I gave him my number. We had a conversation on the phone about prices, about the breed, and payments, because he reached out to me originally stating that, hey, I don't have that full amount that you would be asking for.
Just a second. Can I see text messages where you've discussed the price?
Yes, ma'am.
And where you agreed on a price?
No, that was, so we agreed on a price verbally. The text messages is where I sent him my number. Right after I sent him my number, that's when we had the conversation about prices and payments.
Let me see what you...
Yes, ma'am. Do you want text messages and the Facebook messages?
Yeah.
Okay. It's all in order from front to back. From
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Just about the price of the dog, please.
Well, like I said, Your Honor, the price of the dog was a verbal conversation.
I understand that. The initial discussion that you had with him, you told him what you wanted for the dog.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Thompson, and you wrote, I told him I would even take the runt if you're willing to help me get a puppy for my daughter, right? Okay. How old was the puppy when the puppy was delivered to Mr. Thompson?
They were right at 2 months and 2 weeks, I believe.
So about 10 weeks old.
Yeah, they were born February 20th. This was May 1st when they were.
Do you have a contract with him other than over the phone?
When he came there that morning?
That's either a yes or a no.
No.
You do not have a written contract.
The only contract that we have is of him giving me his ID, letting me take a picture of it because I didn't have any printer ink at the time.
You don't have a contract with him?
No.
Are you a married guy?
No, Your Honor.
Yeah. You know, how did I know that? Because you talk a lot. Most married guys don't talk so much. They answer 2 or 3 words, and that's it. Do you live alone?
Yes, it's just me and my son.
How old is your son?
He's 12.
And how many of these dogs do you have roaming around?
I have 2.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, the plaintiff delivered the dog to you. You had no written contract with him. You just agreed to take the dog at a certain price, correct?
Correct.
He agreed to sell you the dog, and you discussed he got this much with papers, this much without, but he was willing to work with you without papers, correct?
Yes, correct.
So you were getting a dog without AKC papers for how much?
$500.
$500.
$100 down.
Just a sec. What?
$100 down and then $100 every 2 weeks until it was paid off.
So you gave him the $100?
Yes.
And then you never paid him any more?
Well, before the next payment was even there, I questioned him about being a full bully. Because everybody kept telling me it wasn't a full bully because I have multiple friends that...
Don't tell me what your friends told you. Don't tell me what they did. Don't tell me what they said. He told you that he was selling you an American bully.
Yep.
Without papers.
Yes.
So that you weren't going to use this dog for any breeding purposes.
Yes. Good point.
Because you don't have papers, and that would be sort of foolish for you.
Yeah.
Did your daughter fall in love with the dog? Got the dog that she wanted, right?
Yeah, she
a little
picked her
female
out.
called
Zoe.
Zoe.
Yeah, she picked her out.
Your Honor,
And she just
I disagree with that also.
What?
When he originally arrived that morning, he was trying to get a different dog. He wanted a certain one.
No, just a second. Your daughter picked this dog out.
Correct.
You disagree with that?
The daughter and him both wanted a different dog at first.
We had our mind set on a certain puppy before we got there. When we showed up, the puppy that we wanted was getting taken by another people that she...
So your daughter picked another puppy?
Yes, yes.
Correct.
Let's not make this harder than it is. She picked the one that she was happy with.
Yeah.
And she's still happy with it.
Yep.
And she likes it.
Yes.
You wouldn't take it away from her.
No, I would not.
You wouldn't give it back to him.
No, I would not.
Then you have to pay for it.
I would have.
What is so hard about that?
Well, he lied about the shots and never sent me proof for the first
Just a
shot.
second. You have a contract. That's if you're going to pay. He says $750. You say $500. Whether it's $750 or $500, what you're supposed to have if you're a breeder is a written contract. If that's what you do, you have a written contract. I always have a contract when I buy puppies. The breeders, reputable breeders, demand it. They say that they guarantee the health of the puppy for a certain period of time. You can take the dog to have it checked by a vet within a certain period of time. It says whether the puppy had its first shots or second shots or had no shots. says all that. That's it. Other than that, I don't remember what these contracts said, but I bought many, and they are pretty much standard. You bought a dog for either $750 or $500 that you didn't pay for, and now you have a bunch of excuses. Did you take the dog to a vet and have the dog tested as to its heritage?
I have not.
Well, then you can't tell me what your friend said to you. Whether your friend said that looks like, it doesn't look like, I don't know what it looks like. That's not relevant. If he's saying to you, this is an American bully, and you've had the dog professionally tested, the DNA of that dog tested, and it turns out that it's a cacophony of things, which clearly it is because it's a mix of things. What if you have to pay for the dog? You ate the steak. You don't want to give it back. The only question is, how much did you make an arrangement to pay? You say it was $750.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is you have any paperwork to show that?
I do not, Your Honor. Like I said, when he left, I have them contracts. I didn't have any more printer ink. He had to leave and be somewhere else. That's when I asked to go ahead and take a picture of his ID, and I plan to get the contract at a later
Mr.
date.
Thompson,
Yes.
was he originally asking for $1,000 for the dog?
He never originally asked me for $1,000.
No. Was that what your friend paid for his dog?
I don't know what my friend paid for the dog, but I know that he was having trouble selling him, so he marked down the price. I have a Facebook post where he actually, on his own Facebook, before I even...
Oh, do you have what?
I don't have it printed out. I have it on my phone. I'm on.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see it. Does it list a price on it?
It's don't have a price. It just talks about where he's willing to sell them and work with people on deals and stuff because he couldn't sell them this before I even met the guy.
Okay, well, so do you acknowledge that you posted that, sir? That you were willing to make deals with people because you were having difficulty getting rid of the puppies? You're going to pay him the balance of $400 now because you have the dog. Do you understand? A bully isn't a full-bred dog. A bully has a lot of other things in it. Do you understand?
Dog breeder Kenneth Bearden is accusing his customer, Zach Thompson, of refusing to pay the balance on an American bully puppy. Zach says he didn't receive the purebred he was promised and tried to return the dog.
And do you acknowledge that you posted that, sir? That you were willing to make deals with people because you were having difficulty getting rid of the puppies?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I'd like to see you.
Make it a little brighter.
Because you say here that you usually sell them $2,000 with papers and $1,000 without.
Yes.
Okay.
And my
Just a second.
Facebook...
Just a second.
Yes, Your Honor.
5 pups left and needing good homes. These are full-blooded American tricolor bullies. Please help us find them homes. I'm willing to negotiate and rediscuss price payment at any point. Okay, so you're willing to work with anybody?
Exactly.
Okay, so when you had a conversation with him, tell me what price you arrived at.
We arrived at $750. And when we spoke, he told me that he would give me $100 every week. And also in our text messages, it also states where he mentioned if his taxes came, he would pay me in full.
Okay, but you talked about pay $100 every week.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
In my messages, there's a few times where I reference $500, and he never says, well, it's $750, not $500.
Okay, can I see those?
Yeah.
I'd like to see them.
In that message...
And we also talked...
Just give me the message.
Okay. Here's the one that states 500 right here.
Yeah, I believe that the price you negotiated was $500 because the only one of the litigants that has any messages, that has any number in it, is the defendant, who talks, at least on 2 occasions, of the fact that he doesn't want to pay $500 for a mixed breed dog. And there's nothing in it that says, sir, it wasn't $500, it was $750. You gave me $100, so you still owe me $650. That's what the response should have been, and you didn't do that, sir. So
I would have had no problem paying the $500 if it was a full bully. No problem at all.
you're going to pay him the balance of $400 now because you have the dog.
Okay.
Do you understand? A bully isn't a full-bred dog. A bully has a lot of other things in it. Do you understand?
Well,
and you want to keep the dog.
No, I wanted to bring the dog back. He said I could bring the dog back, and then he wrote back and said, okay, I could bring it back.
I just asked you a question. You want me to have her read it back to me? You just said...
I don't want to bring the dog back now.
Well, now is what we're talking about. Now is where we are.
It's 4 or 5 months now my daughter's fell in love, but the first 10 days, I did ask to bring it back. He said, okay.
Right now, we're not in the first 10 days. Right now, we're here. I asked you a question. Do you want to give him the dog back?
If that's what it takes, yes.
You ready to take the dog back?
I do not. Once we sold the animal,
Well, if he says that there is no proof that this litter was a full-blooded American bully, and you have the American Kennel Club records that show that it is, that because you must have registered the litter. That's what happens, Mr. Bearden, when you have a full-blooded dog. You register the litter, and then if you're selling it with papers, the new owner will register the dog with the AKC in their name. So all you have to do now is show me the registration for that litter. No, that's either a show me or I don't have it.